The Council of Cats. Written and narrated by RJF. Depending on whom you ask, common sights in a bustling, busy city might be honking cars stuck in traffic, busy people adjusting their ties, or perhaps a small, scrawny cat scrounging for scraps. A cat with fur so covered in dirt that she doesn't remember what its original complexion was. A cat who can no longer tell the difference between her growling stomach and her broken meow. A cat who, whenever seen by a person, hears the same disheartening remark, "Yuck, shoo, get out of here, cat." Humans are benefactors. They can supply food, shelter, love. However, just because they are benefactors doesn't necessarily mean they are benevolent. In fact, it is quite well known among the animals of the city that humans are naturally quite selfish. They are the gods of the city, the higher beings, and they do, at times, assist those beneath them. But only if you're cute. Only if your eyes are big. Only if your fur is clean. Only if they deem you worthy of them. Suffice to say, no one would ever help a small, starving, disgustingly filthy cat. But luckily for this small cat, humans aren't the only benefactors in the city. There is another. No less selfish and a touch more aggressive, but they are, perhaps, a little less shallow. The cat walks down an alley, and the tall building walls block out the sun. As she walks deeper into the alley, she steps past the remains of rats, the stains of blood, and the severed ears of other cats. Low purrs fill the air, and the small cat recalls that there are in fact sounds lower than her broken meow can produce. She reaches the end of the alley, and two bloodshot marble-like eyes peer from the dark. "Why, hello, kitty cat," says the voice of the bloodshot marbles in the deepest purr of them all. The small cat bows her head. Hello?" The marbles roll, and there is an unperceivable smirk in the darkness. "What is your name, kitty cat?" Other purrs are heard echoing off the walls. "Yes, tell us your name. Who are you?" "Sal," she says, lifting a hind leg to scratch her ear. "My name is Sal." "Sal? That's a stupid name. Ridiculous." The marble eyes growl in their low purr. "Silence. Tell me, Sal, why have you come to my alley?" Sal tries to speak, but her broken meow fails her. "What was that?" meows the voice behind the marbles. "You'll have to speak up, kitty cat." I want a seat." There is a choked chuckle. "Then sit down. You hardly need me for that. Unless there's something wrong with your bum. Is your tail too long, kitty cat?" The purrs surrounding the small cat cackle. "Speak up, Sal," the little cat thinks to herself. "I mean, a seat on the council." It is at this point when the bloodshot marbles narrow and a paw emerges from the darkness. "You certainly don't mean my council of cats, do you? That would be ridiculous." "I want what you have." Sal steps back when she says this. The large cat behind those piercing bloodshot marbles struts forward, and it is a lustrous strut. "What exactly of mine do you want?" The lustrous cat circles the small cell. "Do you want my power? Do you want my resources? Do you want my influence?" All Sal can do is nod. "Well, perhaps that could be arranged. I am nothing if not fair." Sal's eyes widen with astonishment. Could it really have been that easy? "However, fairness, by definition, is equal. Yes?" Sal's head lowers. "I suppose." The marbles peer at her. "Do you suppose? Or do you agree?" "I agree." Your girl. The large cat's tail slithers across Sel's cheek. If I were to give you a seat on the Council of Cats, you would be respected not just by the cats of the city, but all the city's animals. You would have power. You would know what it means to always have a full tummy. Sel's stomach growls. For all of that, I think it would only be fair for you to offer me something in return. What would you like? A mouse? I can fetch you a mouse. The large cat chuckles, and the surrounding purrs do as well. Please, nothing so pedestrian. For the high honour I would be imparting to you, I expect something valuable in return. Not a fish, not a rat, and certainly not a mouse. No, I require something far more valuable than any of those. I require something shiny. Shiny? But where would I... Not my problem, kitty cat. Find it. Bring me something shiny. The bloodshot marbles peer into Sel's eyes. And don't even think of returning to me empty-handed. Sel's tail hides between her hind legs. I'll find you something shiny. The large, lustrous cat prowls back into the darkness. Run along now, kitty cat. Bring me my prize. Sel strolls the city streets, wondering where on earth she would find something shiny. Though perhaps she should be asking how instead. Shiny artifacts aren't exactly rare, it's just that humans often guard things of value, and it's already been established that humans aren't fond of this little cat. She walks past a pigeon feeding on some mouldy bread. Don't even think about it, cat, he says, flapping his wings about. Find your own food. Sel stares at the bird, and her stomach growls. Like I care about your day-old bread. You know I'm a cat, right? Maybe I should just eat you. She pounces, and the pigeon briskly flaps away and perches itself on a nearby parking meter. I hardly think so, he protests. I am Sir Henry Pidge, and I will not be eaten by the likes of you. Sel simply swallows the bread whole and ignores the bird. You tricked me, the bird chirps. You stole my bread. You never wanted me at all, did you? Sel licks her lips. Like I would eat a rat with wings. Well, that's just rude. I assure you I would make for a splendid meal. The bird cleans his feathers and makes himself look more presentable. I'm sorry, are you upset that I don't want to eat you? The bird stops momentarily, realizing he had erred. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Now, if you don't mind, I need to be surveying the land from the skies. Perhaps my next bit of food won't be stolen from me. Maybe if you weren't so gullible, Sel mutters. However, just before the pigeon takes off, she gets an idea. Hey, bird, Henry, was it? Yes, the bird groans. You can fly. I bet you see lots of stuff from the sky, huh? I do, yes. So, I bet you'd know where I could find something shiny, wouldn't you? Of course. Humans tend to keep a tight grasp over shiny things, but you'd be amazed at how often they drop little trinkets. Wait, why are you asking me this? No reason. See you around, rat with wings. She strolls off with her tail in the air. What an impossibly rude cat, says the bird as he flaps away. Nothing, Sel exclaims while sifting through the grass of a human's backyard. That dirty rat with wings is a liar. I haven't seen something shiny anywhere. You're looking for something shiny? Woof! Sel jumps. It's a dog. A disgustingly clean and putridly pampered dog. Ah! Get away from me, Sel hisses. No, woof! I'm a friend, says the dog with a deep bark. His tail wags from side to side. Friend? But you're a dog. Yep, my name's Lucky. What's yours? Sel brandishes her claws. Stay back, I'm warning you. Wow, that's a long name. What? That's not my name, you dummy. My name's Lucky. Huff. He wags his tail and jumps a bit. You were dropped on your head as a pup, weren't you? She purrs in a deadpan tone. No, I got lost. Then I got found. And maybe some stuff happened between that. But now I have a nice human family. Lucky for some. Hey, you said my name, Lucky. Realising Lucky doesn't have the brain capacity to be a real threat to her, Sel goes back to searching the yard. Are you looking for something? Lucky sticks his fat nose in her face. Personal space, dummy. Come on, you can tell me. I'm your friend. Sel's ears twitch. How can you possibly think we're friends? All you've done is annoy me for the past minute and a half. Do you even know what qualifies as a friend? Not really. I've never had a friend before. Sel scoffs. Not surprising. She steps over to something twinkling beside her, but there's nothing there. It must have just been her imagination. What are you looking for? Lucky's fat nose sticks into Sel's face again. What did I tell you about personal space? Ugh, and there's drool all over your nose. Sorry, Lucky sits and wags his tail. If you must know, I'm looking for something shiny. If you can get your human family to drop something shiny my way, maybe I could consider you my acquaintance. My family doesn't have many shiny things. Lucky's face scrunches up in dumbfounded thought. I guess you're dead to me then. Sel shuffles a blade of grass with her paw. Lucky jumps a little. Oh, if you're looking for something shiny, you should ask the vultures. I'll bet they have some shiny stuff. Sel whips her gaze to him. What did you say? I said, if you're looking for something shiny, yeah, okay, I don't need a direct quote. What about these vultures? They're like pirates, woof. They fly around and take stuff. They're so cool. And scary. But they'll have something shiny, right? Probably. Lucky pants happily. Where are these vultures? On the outskirts of the city. I can take you, friend. We're not friends. But take me anyway. Lucky trots down the street, his tail wagging with happiness. Sel, on the other hand, is desperately trying to convince herself that she just so happens to be walking next to him. She definitely isn't walking with him. She could never associate herself with a dog, especially one so stupid. Lucky looks at her, with his tongue flapping about. So, friend? We're not friends, she quickly corrects. Look, if it'll get you to stop calling me friend, I'll tell you my name. It's Sel. Sel? That's a nice name, friend. Huff. Sel breathes heavily, only to get the steam from her boiling blood a clear escape route. Are we almost there? She asks. Nope. Lucky says this abruptly and joyfully. Oh, how far away do these buzzards live? Just outside the city. Don't worry, we're almost there. Huff. But you just said... Never mind. So silly. Sel glares at him. Call me that again, and I'll bite that stupid tail off your backside. My name is Sel. Not Sally, not friend. Sel. Got it? Lucky nods, acting as though he hadn't just been threatened. Can I ask you something, Sel? What? She snaps. Why are you looking for something shiny? I need to give something shiny to the Council of Cats. Why? Because they won't let me become a member of the council if I don't. Why? Is that your favourite word? Why? I'm not like you, dog. I don't get a human family to care for me. I don't get the benefits of being cute and dumb. So if I want to live, I've got to make friends. Lucky gives Sel a dumb and happy look. Real friends shouldn't have conditions. Hoof. Sel almost takes offence to this. Whatever. What would you know anyway? Outside the city is a barren wasteland filled with the remains of dead plants and animals. The ground is dry and cracked, and the leafless trees house the dirtiest, most dishevelled of creatures. Vultures. Visitors! Visitors! They screech as Lucky and Sel stumble in. Hello! Lucky yells excitedly. Sel looks at him disapprovingly. Ah, great, squeals a vulture. Dung for brains is back. I thought we'd seen the last of that dumb dog, squawks another. I brought my friend, woof, says Lucky. I'm not... Sel doesn't bother continuing. What an ugly little rat, screams one of the buzzards. I think it's a cat, says another. It looks half dead. Sel yells in her broken meow. Cut it out! You buzzards aren't models yourselves, you know. Ugh, it sounds half dead too. The vultures cackle. Sel's not an it, Sel's a she. Huff. Lucky wags his tail. Thank you for enlightening us, you daft ding-dong. The vultures cackle again. Sel watches as these verbal attacks don't seem to faze Lucky at all. All right then. Enough chattering. A rather large vulture swoops down, not at all elegantly, and towers over the cat and dog. What do the two of you want? Sel looks at Lucky, telling him with her gaze that she'll take the lead on this one. I'm here because you are going to get me something, says Sel. The vulture laughs, almost coughing up a bone. Am I now? Well, I'm sure we would all be delighted to hear what exactly I will be retrieving for you. Good, you should be. Sel pumps out her chest and straightens her strut. My presence here should be your honour. I'm surprised you haven't all bowed to me yet. The unmoving faces of the vultures say that they are not amused by Sel's demeanour. Anyway, the cat continues, I'm here for something shiny. If you could just get it for me, and then I'll be on my way. The vulture stares at Sel, not moving at all. Didn't you hear me? Sel asks. Oh, I'm sorry. The vulture wipes his eyes with his wing. I just missed the part where I gave a damn. The other vultures cackle. Please help my friend, Lucky butts in. Friend? The vulture eyeballs the dog. You think this dirty, distasteful thing is your friend? Listen, you imbecile, that is a cat. Cats and dogs don't mix. You think that this cat wouldn't stab you in the back at a moment's notice? I don't think she has a knife, says Lucky, completely missing the point. While the dog and vulture go back and forth, Sel catches something out of the corner of her eye. Something shiny. She looks at the other vultures. They are all busy cackling as the large vulture delivers verbal put-downs to Lucky. I guess it's now or never, Sel thinks. She slinks over to the shiny object on the ground. A little spoon. Picking it up in her mouth, Sel turns her back to the vultures so that they won't see the spoon she's holding. Let's go, dog, she says to Lucky, hoping that no one will notice the slight slurring of her words caused by her mouth carrying the spoon. But they're making fun of you, he says. I've got to stand up for my friend. No, dog, Sel asserts. Lucky puts his head down and follows Sel's lead. What's the matter? Croak the vultures. Running away? No way, yells Lucky. Dog, get it, Sel whispers. Let's go. Hold on just a moment. A vulture swoops down, and Sel bows her head to further hide the spoon. What's that you've got there, little cat? She shakes her head, not wanting to talk in case her slurring clues the vulture in on what she's doing. The vulture eyes the cat and dog. You two are an unlikely couple, aren't you? Yes, unlikely, and so very suspicious. The vulture looks directly at Sel. Are you hiding something from me, little one? Sel shakes her head. Are you sure? Then perhaps something's wrong. You are suddenly so very quiet. Maybe you've realized how very entitled you purport to be, when in fact you're just a silly street cat. You're disgusting, unlovable. The only friend you could manage to acquire was this brain-damaged mutt, and you're too full of yourself to accept him. How pitiful, how pathetic. I'm not pathetic. Sel takes a chance and defends herself, and the absolute worst happens. Sel drops the spoon, and it is laid bare for all to see. So, not hiding anything, eh? The vulture glares at the spoon. But she needs a spoon, says Lucky. What she needs is a beating. The vulture flies into the air and charges for Sel, talons first. Sel flinches and waits to be struck, but Lucky jumps in the way and takes the attack for her. As Sel watches the dog limp back into a defensive position, she feels something she has never felt before. Something from within, something strange. She doesn't know what it is, but she knows what she has to do. "Stupid mutt," cries the vulture, and he swoops down for another attack. But this time, Sel comes to the rescue, swiping her claws at the buzzard. Now the other vultures in the trees are getting restless. They too wish to fight. "Lucky, can you walk?" Sel asks. The dog nods his head. "Good, let's go." "But the spoon," Lucky says weakly. "Leave it. Our lives are more important." Sel and Lucky make a run for it. Unfortunately, they're not very fast, mostly due to Lucky's injuries. But they manage to escape with just a few scratches from the vengeful vultures chasing them. Back in the city, Lucky and Sel stand outside the alley of the Council of Cats. "Are you sure about this, Ellie?" Lucky asks. "Not really." Her ears are bent downward and her tail hangs low. "We can look for something shiny somewhere else. I know other places. I think." Sel shakes her head. "You shouldn't be walking too much. After that vulture attack, you need to take it easy. Besides, if I don't confront the council now, I don't think I ever will, with or without the shiny thing." "Woof, okay," barks Lucky. "Let's go." Probably best for you to stay here. I don't think a group called the Council of Cats would be too pleased to meet a dog." "Oh, okay. I'll be right here." Lucky wags his tail. "All right, I'll see you later then." Sel tiptoes down the alleyway and whispers to herself, "If I make it back, that is." Light turns to dark, sounds of traffic turn to sounds of purring, and the two bloodshot marbles peer at Sel from the darkness. "Well, well, well. Nice to see you back, kitty cat." The marbles pierce Sel's soul. "Where's my prize then? Hand it over." "I don't have it," Sel whispers in a cracked meow. What was that, kitty cat? I couldn't hear you." The surrounding purrs chime in. Sounded like she said she doesn't have it. She's come empty-handed. "I don't have it," Sel says more loudly this time. "And I'm not going to get it either. I didn't come here to ask forgiveness." The marbles move forward, giving life to the strut of a massive cat. "Then why did you come back? Didn't I tell you not to return empty-handed?" Sel shrinks at the cat's imposing stature, but she pulls herself together and speaks. "I came here to tell you that I don't want to be part of your council anymore. You'd rather starve like a filthy stray. I'd rather not be like you, a faceless group of bullies who monopolise the city's resources." "That's right. Woof." The bark echoes off the walls as Lucky comes rushing in. The entire council hisses at him. "Who is this mutt?" asks the large cat, outraged. Sel stands next to the dog, surprising even herself at how happy she is to see him. "This is Lucky. He's my friend." Every member of the council laughs at the small cat and dog. "You know," says Sel in her broken meow, "I don't care what you all think. I thought I needed to be part of this council. I thought I needed to be like you because no one else cared about me. But that isn't true." She looks at Lucky, and Lucky wags his tail. "Lucky likes me, even though I gave him every reason not to. Lucky actually cares about me. He's my friend." The bloodshot marbles stare at Sel before slowly creeping back into the darkness. "You sicken me, kitty cat, ever so much. To think, had you brought me my prize, I may have actually let you join." "Well, I don't think you would have," barks Lucky, standing up for his friend. The large cat hisses under her breath. "Goodbye, kitty cat, and take that mutt with you. Au revoir." Sel turns in the direction of the way out. "Come on, Lucky. Let's go." Lucky looks at the piercing, judgmental eyes peering all throughout the darkness. "Yeah, let's go." This has been The Council of Cats, written, narrated and illustrated by RJF. For more stories by RJF, check the links in the description, and thanks for listening.